All right. I'm back. Now, if this works, then Kenneth, you should be able to send me a request to join. And if that's not an option, then perhaps you can get on Alyssa's phone because I noticed before the option was available to bring her on the camera. So, hopefully we'll get this all sorted. I see that there's one person watching. Did my William Shatner impression come through before? If it hadn't, I guess I should be relieved. But I don't know. Maybe it would have hit home with some of you. So, but yeah, Kenneth, if you're able to watch, then you should be able to send me a request. And if you can't, perhaps you can get on Alyssa's phone because I noticed that she was able to do that, or at least had the opportunity to join before when she signed in. So, like right now, I know Heather is on, and there's an option for me to bring them on camera. But when you had signed in before, Kenneth, there was no option to bring you on camera. But there was for Alyssa. So perhaps you can use Alyssa's phone, and we'll be able to get things going. Yes, you're here again. Is it possible for you to use Alyssa's phone? Because that seems to work. The only other option is that we do this on Skype, and I just aim the phone. Oh, okay, yeah. See, so I can bring Alyssa on camera, or it's there we go. Yes, it says adding. Hopefully this will work. It just keeps saying adding. All right. I know we had these problems before, but then the problem seemed to be fixed when we had Sean, the guest declined. Okay. So yeah, Kenneth, unfortunately, there's no like button or for me to invite you, but there is one for Alyssa. So I don't know if it's possible for you to use her phone or yeah, I mean it lets me know that you're watching, but oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Now we're in business. We should be in business now. It says adding. And now it says, yeah.
All right, man.
All
So
right, there we go.
apparently, it doesn't work from the main computer.
Gotcha.
Okay, let me turn this one off then.
Okay,
So no
so folks, we're here.
horrible view.
It only took a little while, but hey, the only split screen chats or shows. I feel like I should get a guitar as well, or would that be biting off your style?
There you go.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
it's fine.
I have a bass. Yeah, I have my brother's bass is in the other room. I could get that,
Okay.
and but I feel like that's your thing. Having the guitars is your thing.
It might be. Well,
And
let's
I
get
don't.
into. We had a
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
I had a better view before, and now I've got no view. It's just a little
Okay.
heads. Nope, I don't like it, but we'll do it.
Well, you gotta make do with what you can,
Let's.
unfortunately. But
Yeah, man.
how are you?
I'm great. Everything's
Good.
good. Yeah,
Good.
we're
Yeah.
just moving forward and enjoying what we can in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm game for discussing whatever you want. I did want to mention that I've been listening to the Black Tide recently, as well as some of your other albums, and I think Patrick from Grave Next Door had described it as ear candy. That
Yeah.
was that was his phrase, and it's I mean it's suitable because, and I was thinking about today, the last time I remember watching you do a live stream, and I mentioned this in one of my social media posts, that you were walking and I think you sort of tripped, but you needed to adjust the pedal, so you used your hand,
Yeah.
and you didn't miss a beat. I mean, it was one of the most incredible acrobatic moves that I
Yeah.
had
There's no,
seen.
no, no tripping involved. So
Okay.
I saw that you wrote that, and I thought about it. And it's really like, it's kind of a complicated answer for this, but it's all about professionalism, and being the setup of the type of band that we are, the type of music we play, and everything else. It kind of, right from the start, the deck was always stacked against us, and people wanted us to fail and would tell us how we weren't going to fit in. No one wanted to hear what we're doing, and a lot of other things. But the funny thing is uh, along that way, every single instance of people saying something was always countered with a win. But that being the case, I just knew that from the very start of it, every single thing I did had to be way beyond professional. And that's the way everything has to be presented. And that's the way I've always made sure, as we go into performances, as we go into anything, that we were up to speed. So uh, the, getting back into playing, because I hadn't played for 10 years when we started this project. I just was over it and I didn't want to play anymore. And then I got a guitar, started playing, boom. And within the first year, we headlined our very first show we played together. During that year, I taught Alyssa how to play from scratch. She played before, but that was years before. And she played one show and then didn't play again. So I had to teach her every part of how to play bass. And we headlined our first show. Our second show, we were playing the biggest rock club in San Diego, opening for Michelangelo Badio, with people saying, hey, it's not going to work because we don't have a drummer, because we don't have a singer, because this. So I knew everything has to be up above, a step above everyone. And that means that I have to know how to handle my instrument and all the sound while I'm playing constantly. So it was something that I've done a million times while we're just going through stuff and being able to mix it on the fly. And that's what you saw, was just a moment of, I guess, a peek behind the curtain of what normally happens when we play. So there
Yeah,
you go.
what
Long.
it reminded me a little bit of I saw a great well, first, well, Heather had asked a great question. She said she heard your cover of Raspberry Beret on the podcast and was
Yeah.
wondering if you're planning on doing any more music with vocals.
Uh, that's a funny question. So it was kind of, I guess I'm not really planning on it. I did have one, what's happening, Patrick? I did have one other cover by this British band called Manson, that we were kind of messing with just to play live. Here and there live, like we would throw in a cover. And so like the whole thing with Prince was, we had actually, at a couple shows, we had done like a metal cover of I Would Die For You, because I can sing, I just don't like to sing metal style. So I don't really, but the truth of the matter is, and we were kind of discussing this the other day, was I don't really care too much about vocal music as much anymore. I mean, it's when I think of it, it's like, if you took Moonlight Sonata or Fifth of Beethoven or whatever these, and you just had someone singing some song about being pissed off or something over that music. I mean, would it have the sustainability? Would it have the depth and power that it has now, hundreds of years later? I don't think it would, because music without the voice becomes universal. It becomes timeless. And I'm happy being there and like finding this voice of where I'm at and making this music that can endure, and it can be played anywhere at any time, and people can either dig it or not, but it's not, they're not being held back by not understanding it. You understand it as soon as you hear it. So, you know, the vocal thing, I've done it for years before, and I, I don't know. I just find it very limiting too, in the process of arranging and building songs, and where, and even storytelling. It is very limiting.
Well, I mean, I think with the type of music that you play, especially with,
Give me
yeah,
1 second.
yeah,
I gotta plug the phone in because I didn't know I was gonna be using it.
yeah,
One
it's all
second.
good. Um, while he's plugging in the phone, I will say that his hitting the hit your if you can still hear me,
I can hear you.
the when you hit the pedal with your hand, it reminded me of a documentary I had seen on the band Rush, where they talked about Geddy Lee playing bass and doing the synthesizer, and they said he would move the microphone with his nose. Um, and that's what I thought of, just the sort of the fluid motion, without missing anything. It was just incorporated into the show. But I think I equate the sort of music that you play. It reminds me of a group called Earthless, which uh
Yeah,
which is I think they're
I've
out.
met Mario. He's
Okay, yeah, yeah.
he's an old time skateboarder, so I've met him back in the days.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, the fact that most of their stuff is instrumental, and a lot of it is much, very much. I mean, they're more improvisational than you are, but it sort of reminds me of that same kind of progressive feel to it. Um, with some of the stuff. I mean, recently they've begun to add vocals, but
Yeah,
the first few albums are all instrumental. And I know what you mean. There's a universal quality to it, and again, I think the type of music that you play uh, has everything it needs. Um,
yeah,
that's what's really great is I know that you write the songs, you guys play. It's just the two of you with guitar and bass, and I know that you're pretty much a self-sustained unit. You're probably mixing the stuff, um, and
yeah.
then
I do
putting it
it
out,
all
putting it out.
start to finish.
Yeah, I mean it's really I admire it because sometimes I mean I love working with the publishers that I have when it comes to writing, but because self-publishing has sort of lost the stigma nowadays, and
Yeah,
it seems like once you have the ability and the drive, that the technology is out there if you're willing to sort of put in the time. And that's what I've always admired about the fact that you've carved out the group that listens to your music. And certainly there are obstacles along the way of people, either wanting you to fail or not succeed, or telling you it's going to be too tricky. But really, what it comes down to is if you're willing to see it through, there are very few things that are going to stop you from doing it, because the technology is there, and your musical ability is certainly there. So I sometimes look to you, and I'm inspired to want to, to pursue that avenue myself more. Um,
yeah. I mean,
so, but yeah,
now's
for those,
definitely the time. I mean, we luckily, like, technology has caught up. I mean, again, circling back to an artist like Prince, had he not got lucky enough to sign those original um, record contracts where he had control over what he was doing and being able to build his studios, I mean, it would be, who knows how much of his work would have never been out. And
yeah,
I know for me, I've always kind of been on a a different musical path. So hold on, I have an intruder. I have an intruder.
That's all good. But
Someone's breaking and
Patrick,
entering. But anyways, so the point is that, you know, he was lucky enough to, right when they were about to drop him, have a hit record, and keep signing and making enough money to build these studios where he was constantly recording, and being able to kind of set what do you want, a precedent of when he wanted stuff released. And even he was kind of frustrated with not being able to release as much material as he wants. Long story short, technology has caught up where we can release as much as we want. How many books did you put out this year? Last year?
I
How many stories?
I
How many books?
well, I put out I had two novellas that came out this year and one last year, that were with traditional publishers, and that worked really well for me. I think this year I'm going to try to release a memoir that'll be self-published. So I think for me, I've sort of realized that that there are there, depending on what I want to do, there are different routes that'll sort of be beneficial either way. Um, I think what's great is you've sort of figured out, with the type of music you play and the amount of output and the control, that you've found a great path for you to be, for you to go down. Um,
Yeah, and that
and
was the point,
Patrick,
because I know
yeah,
I know you've put out, you know, a pretty good output for writing, because I know with a lot of authors, it's, maybe one, maybe two a year. I've never seen a lot, but I keep seeing you putting stories everywhere. By the way, no one could survive eating as much as McGill, and I've
oh,
already read Ouroboros, so there. But we'll
thank you.
talk
Yeah, I
about that
mean,
later.
yeah, I mean, it's it is fiction after all, but
Yeah,
Patrick wrote, some songs don't need vocals that take away from the
yeah,
emotion of the music. We find when you have a song with no vocals will fit, but the emotion is there in the music. You leave it alone. Imagine Wagner's Flight of the Valkyrie with vocals. You can't. And
exactly. Just,
yeah,
and those songs, yeah, I mean, it's modern music is so much different, but you can always go back and appreciate the musicianship and what what was happening at that time. And you can listen to it now, you could listen to it then. Of course, that was contemporary music then, but it still works, and there's still a lot of aspects of it that's great. And I just feel like there's there's a big handful of these guys who are really pushing boundaries in the music world, that are doing instrumental only,
sure.
and it always falls by the wayside for the most part, because people want to hear Cardi B talking whatever her nonsense is, when it's like, wait a minute, you're taking this, this, putting this above this music. It's almost like, if you don't have vocals, you're discounted nowadays. And it's like, you know, I don't know what to say about it, but I appreciate that music more because I can put it on at any time and just enjoy it. And I hope that's what's coming out there for people. And that's basically what I'm doing, is trying to make stuff that gets me interested, but that's
Yeah,
artistic enough to keep everyone else interested. And you know,
I think that's yeah, I mean, and Heather wrote, your fans are there for you, which they are. I mean, I think, you're the music that you're creating, the stuff that I'm writing, it's for us. It's to kind of, the process is to give us, joy and engagement, and whatever it brings. And then you put it out in the world, and hopefully other people connect to it. Um, I know that I've certainly I like to put on instrumental music, or jazz or classical when I'm writing, because, lyrics can be distracting, when I'm trying to work. But I've put on your stuff is great to have on in the background. It's inspiring. I'm being a progressive metal fan anyway. It's something I would listen to even if I'm not writing. Like, if I just
yeah,
want to have a great jam on in the background. and Alyssa just wrote, it's classic, it's timeless. It is all those things. I think,
She was
I
the
think you can.
intruder. She- when you were asking if I could use her phone, she wasn't even here. So
Oh,
she came in.
gotcha.
Now she's hiding somewhere in the house. So I don't know.
Gotcha. Yeah, I actually tried to send her an invite and it got declined. And I was like, oh, well, she might not be there. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh, that's sort of awkward. Some guy she doesn't know is asking her, inviting her into a Facebook group. So please
she knows who.
apologize for me.
Yeah.
But
So that
yeah, no,
pervert. I don't know who that pervert was who was inviting you.
yeah, I mean, some guy. He looks like he's auditioning for a porno movie. I don't know. I don't know what his deal is, but yeah.
Anyways,
But oh, she was
we're losing
okay.
the plot
Yeah,
here.
driving. She was driving. Yeah. But no, so for those of you out there who are just tuning in, Kenneth Prouty puts out a lot of really wonderful albums under the moniker K Prouty. He's got a couple of live performances on this group that you're definitely worth checking out. And his wife Alyssa plays bass, and they put on a phenomenal show. His most recent EP is out. It's called The Black Tide, I believe. And
Yes.
uh, and I know the album before that was Energy, Frequency, Vibration.
Yes.
Um, so definitely worth getting both of those albums. If you're a fan of just great music, um, you know, they are instrumental and it's progressive metal, but they're really beautifully melodic and complex. And you know, you can see that the man is holding a guitar right now. He is a whiz on the guitar. Um, you know,
So this one I'm holding up because this is the after we took our road trip. I'm cutting you
uh,
off,
no, it's all
but
good.
I've heard enough of your interviews, and I think you're trying to wrap it up on me. That's not fair. You're
No,
you're
not at
staying on
all.
the line. So
Yeah, I mean, we started 20 minutes late. The least I can
yeah.
do is
So basically,
so
this
that.
one, this is the one I recorded the whole EP for Black Tide. And what's special about this one is I actually built this one 100% during this year, just as a project to do. And now it's pretty much like the only guitar I play. So it's been a lot of fun. Um, I built it to the specs I want, learned how to do wood staining. So I finished it exactly the way I wanted. And yeah, having a lot of fun with this thing. And
Yeah, I mean, and Patrick did comment. It is beautiful. I will echo his sentiments. That
yeah.
you're like yeah, I mean, you're like MacGyver meets Brian May meets, you know, I don't I the I'm sure there are other people. Who's the skateboarder? My favorite skateboarder. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. Uh, from
Uh,
Florida. Um,
Andrew Reynolds,
no. He was with he was in the Bones Brigade. He was like one of the original guys.
Rodney
The
Mullen.
Rodney Mullen. That's it. The park. I just remember watching the Bones Brigade documentary, and they said that when he would skate, the park would stop to watch him because of all the innovative techniques. And
Yeah.
I feel that's who you are. You're like part Rodney Mullen, part Brian May, and part MacGyver.
Well,
So
that's a good place to be.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And on that note, it is funny because um, so getting to actual technique stuff of guitar, and if you have any questions on, energy frequency or whatever, just ask me if it pops in your head, and we'll dive back into
Yeah,
songs and whatnot. But as far as technique, um, because of a little bit of laziness, but a lot of bit of what's the right word? Uh, Purposeful, trajectory that I don't learn the standard stuff that people are doing. I might find someone who's doing it some type of trick that I like or some type of technique, but I never go and learn other people's licks or how to play stuff. I can play anything if I hear the song, but I don't, a lot of people go back and they go, "What? I know how to play all these songs, or I know all these Black Sabbath songs." and I purposely will not learn their styles because I wanted to create my own way of tackling the guitar and doing things. Um, that being said, I'm not taking full credit for it. I just know that I've kind of created my own vocabulary around here, but with all the tapping stuff, credit where it's due. I never liked tapping when I heard it back originally, like the Van Halen way, and not to say anything disrespectful. And then I started listening to guys like Angel Vivaldi was a big influence on me. And when I first heard him play, I was like, I knew it was amazing, and I had no idea what he was doing. And then I just saw him do something like a tapping rhythm. And once I saw what he was doing, it was like, the epiphany happened, and I was like, wait a minute, you can do anything like that, any way you want. And then it just kind of opened up a whole new way of playing. So if you go back and listen to the very first thing we did, which is called Where We Make Our Stand, there's a little bit of tapping on there, but it's very very basic, kind of what I was talking about, that I really wasn't that fond of, but I was trying to figure out what I was doing. And then all of a sudden you go to A World Lit Only by Stars, and you just see this progression, because it was like I saw this whole world of being able to tap things, and just opened up for me. And then I just started figuring out different patterns and different ways to do it, and string skipping and all types of things to create this vocabulary and create this other style. So that way I had my own way of playing, and I wasn't just copying someone, and not, which you find a lot in guitar music. I'm always seeking just to be the most authentic and most cohesive person that I can be with everything I do. So that was the point of that.
Yeah, well, I
So
mean,
appreciate that you understand and appreciate that. So
yeah, well, it's uh, what you're doing specifically, I think. And by the way, Patrick wrote, "That's genius. What pickups are that
yeah,
on the
so
guitar?" So,
these are actually I forget what they're called. They're made by this place called Guitar Fetish, and they're like called like Crunch, iCrunch, or I don't know, but they're like a high gain pickup, because I knew that's the way I like to play. Even though the sound when I play it sounds clean, I have a lot of distortion on the guitar to play all the notes. And yeah, so it's like a high gain pickup, but it is a matched set. So you have a neck, which is a warmer sound, which is funny because a lot of times on the really like super fast black metally stuff, I will play on the neck, which is a jazz style, versus on the bridge, where a lot of metal guys like to play to get that really high end, squeaky, squeaky sound, with all the squeals. A lot of times I'm using the neck, and especially for all the tapping stuff, because it really is warm and really brings up the notes without all the, that frequency that just shreds your ears apart, which is something that we worked a lot on for playing live too, since you're going to be hearing just this guitar for 35, 40 minutes wailing at you. I wanted to make sure that the tones were warm enough, rock enough, that it wasn't going to chase you away, but it still retained all that flavor in it, So, and I think I got it all with this thing right now.
yeah.
Pretty excited about it.
Well, the litmus test for me, I think, was that my mom watched some of the show, maybe the last time, I think, and she wanted to stay to see more than one song. And I thought,
Yeah,
okay, well, if you can win her over, she's not thinking like, okay, well, these sound the same to me and I want to get out of here, then you're on to something,
yeah,
you know. And that and I if she might even be watching right now. If she is, then I'm sure she'll chime in and echo my sentiments. But Yeah, I mean, what I was going to say before is many of the things that you're doing, you haven't reinvented the wheel per se, but it's all sort of unique to you. Like
Yeah,
there are a lot of people out there who are writing progressive metal or tapping or doing all this stuff, but I don't really think I've seen it all put together the way that you have. So there's that Rodney Mullen innovation type thing, coming through, and then the building of the guitar is definitely straight up MacGyver. Although I know Brian May from Queen built his own guitar at one
yeah,
point. Um, and then yeah, what one thing you had reminded me of a little bit was I remember watching an interview with Ian MacKaye when he talked about being in the Teen Idols, and he said they made, like $700, and then the option was either they could split it four ways or they could record an album. But so they decided to record an album. But then back then, no one wanted to put out any punk records, so that's how they created Discord, because they needed to. I can only imagine what they would have done today with the technology being what it is and, being able to sort of put out all your stuff. But
yeah,
when I was teaching, I would always try to show that example to my students that, never think that you can't do anything because there are going to be a ton of people out there telling you you can't do it. But look, these are 15-year-old kids who basically made their own record label.
yeah.
And
I mean, I always just find if you set the course and as long as you have something quality and unique to offer, if you set the course and you keep pushing, uh, anytime you do something different, it's always going to be that, you know, it's easy to like what's the same. People like what's familiar. They don't like change. They don't, you know. So pretty much everything I've ever put my hands on has always been in this category. So I already know what to expect. I already know you're gonna have you're gonna have the rock that you're pushing up the hill. Where what is that? What's that? It's not Prometheus. It's the other one.
Sisyphus?
There you go.
Sisyphus, yeah.
Anytime you're trying to do something that's completely different, you're always in that category. You're pushing the rock up the hill. But the point is, unlike a Greek tragedy, it's that you can get to the top of the hill, or you just throw the freaking rock off and do it without it. So
Yeah.
that's what I find, and I just you know
And and
it's
Patrick,
like I said to you earlier. Every step, there's been someone saying something, but for every negative thing that's came this way, which I don't focus on, I always have wins. So sometimes I think that might be another thing too, because I let people know, like, hey, this club over here, they told us there's no place for us. And then I never talk about that, but what I talk about is uh how now we just headlined 3 shows in a row right after them saying that, and then it turns around and they invite us back after that to open up for big names, and we become someone that they're calling all the time after they said, I'm sorry, we don't have a place for you, you don't fit in anywhere, and no one basically wants to hear you. And then it all flipped, because I'm focused on moving forward instead
yeah,
of
well, and Patrick also writes, if everyone likes what I'm doing it wrong.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, part I think of what a lot of people aren't ready to accept is that the struggle to get there, is sometimes what makes it so rewarding when you finally do. Um, and just being able to kind of handle the obstacles. I think so
yeah,
many people end up turning around because they don't want to deal with it. Um,
yeah,
but it's great. That's I think the beauty of this is that you were able to kind of weather through someone telling, a club saying, we don't play that type of music, or there's not really a spot for you here. And then once you became undeniable, it was sort of like, okay, well, you've proven us wrong, and now not only are we're not going to apologize, but we want you to come back, which is our way of sort of admitting that we were wrong. So
Yeah,
it
so
ends up,
that was good.
yeah, it ends up working out well. And
Yeah, and I mean,
any other
and we're still
questions
at
from
the
the?
very beginning of, I mean, really, we're, for as much of stuff as I've put out, I mean, really, I feel like, it's still really the beginning of all this, I mean, we were at the beginning of 2020, we're just like to the point where we were getting, going to be out there and be playing with big people and had, a small little mini tour lined up, and all these things were on that trajectory, and then boom, so I mean, it's still at the infancy. But I mean, more than anything, it's, for me, it's just putting out stuff, and just enjoying it. I'm trying to like set up my our life, so that way I don't need anything from music. Where a lot of people are pushing for, I have to sell things, or I want to make my living this way. And I'm kind of working it so I don't need to, so I can just give the most pure art that I can, and not worry about what I'm getting back from it. And that was one of the big things that I worked on through this year, learning about investing, and a lot of other things. And I've been lucky enough that I know I'm saying this year, but I guess we should say last year, because it's already 2021. But
Yeah,
I my work outside of music um, never stopped. So we were lucky on that sense. And so I did a bunch of things to set us up. Uh, and then I made a decision to take, we have that shop, it's on Threadless, so you can get shirts or whatever, and make sure that at least half gets donated to things like UNICEF, and there's another one for like a suicide prevention type thing. Because I mean, really, it's like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't need anything from music. I just want to get out there and share the art with you guys, and that's it. We're good. Life's good, and I've been lucky. Not saying life was always easy, but you have to be resilient, find ways to win.
yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm working on that, and we're working on some big changes for this year too, to kind of help in that path. So there'll be some big announcements coming that way. So
Gotcha. Well, I mean, it's great. I mean, I know this particular project is sort of still in its infancy, but it's
yeah,
really incredible how far it's come in such a short period. Um, and that it was supposed to. And Patrick wrote great mindset. Absolutely, yeah. Um, I keep I'm working on absolutely not being my go-to word because I've discovered that that's what it is. But either
absolutely.
way, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, but
Most
I mean it's
definitely.
mostly yeah, but
The
it's great.
thesaurus out
It's
right now.
great. Yeah, well, you'll be able to replicate a lot of the hopefully a lot of the things that you'd been planning that were sort of put on hold. Um, the great thing is that you've been able to still put out music, which I think is the most important thing. Um,
Yeah,
and from what I mean, in this day and age, I think what's great is that everyone has access to it no matter where they are. So
yeah,
while playing live, of course, will never be something that you can replicate, even if you live stream, because having the audience there. But at least people can get your music. They can listen to it. They can get your merch, um, which is wonderful. And yeah, there's a lot of hopefully 21 will be a much better year. I'm
yeah,
uh,
man.
I'm hoping the odd years are better. The even years haven't been so great. the last
I
couple,
mean,
but
listen, I mean, there's no magic to it. Like, the year's going to flip. We're still dealing with all the same things. And uh, I mean, I know out here where we're at on the West Coast for now, which is part of the big change. We're getting out of here, but um, I mean, everything is being locked down and this, that, and what, you know, we're still going to be dealing with it. So who knows when live stuff's coming back, but let's hope it's a little bit better. I don't
yeah, no, I
know.
mean, I'm with you on that. I think the good thing is that you've found the silver linings that you can sort of take advantage of. If it's either working on new stuff or doing live streams or putting out music or making moves to kind of set up what the next year could look like.
Yeah,
It's I think there are a lot of people who ran in the other direction. This was sort of an obstacle that was really difficult, is still really difficult. But I think a lot of people, artists in particular, were able to sort of dig deep and realize. Um, I'm sorry, I got Patrick said, could you tell me about that
I
flying
know.
V behind you?
All right, hold on. Okay, so this was my main stage guitar for the last year. It is just a Jackson V, but I did customize it all with the gold Floyd and all that, and I am running DiMarzio pickups, which I love these in this set, and it's the Air Norton and Tone Zone, and they just, for the way I play, they are fantastic. Just warm, beautiful sounding. This is what you hear 90% through energy frequency is this guitar for all the leads. I did use my Ibanez a lot for the rhythms, but this, I always wanted it to sound just like I would play it live. So I definitely tracked all the leads with this one. And yeah, it's a great guitar. I love playing this one. It's so fun. But when I made the other one, I never, I don't pick this one up anymore because it's just so fun to play that one. Yeah, Patrick says DiMarzio is his favorite, but he plays drums. How do you know, Patrick? I mean, come on, man. I'm just messing with you guys. Yeah, no, they're
And
great pickup. I
Heather
uh,
also commented that it was beautiful, which it is.
yeah, no, it's a it's such an easy and fun guitar to play. The neck, and actually like the neck profile, all the MacGyver nerdiness. He said I was a guitarist. Um, the neck profile on this and the one I built are very, very close. So it's got a really fast neck. It's not too thick, so it's good for reaching around and getting your hands in there and doing all that. And yeah, no, I've actually been like, I look at this every day, obviously, and I'm like, I have a couple guitars that I put away because I'm tired of seeing so much stuff out here. So I just see these two, and I'm always thinking like, what next thing I can do to it that will make me pick it up more. But anyways, yeah, no, it's a great sounding guitar. I can't go wrong with it. I do love the DiMarzio pickups. Um, I think if that's probably one of the one brands that if they reached out to me, I'd have to really, really consider saying yes to. I've had other offers, and I have turned some down for some guitar companies because I just didn't feel it was the right thing. It wasn't the right fit, and I totally get torn between the two. But when you make it yourself, Patrick, it's like, it's my baby now. So, but no, I did have some guitar endorsement offers, some gear offers, and it's weird, especially if you're not using it. And then I also realized that I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to be anyone's monkey in a way, like, oh, we need you to put out this content and do this. And I don't want to do that. Everything has to be just right. And as far as building this one, what happened was people saw me playing it, and I've actually already made another one of these. You guys have probably seen me post it. Kind of looks like an old Fender Jazzmaster, but it was a special request for someone. So kind of got a little thing going where we're making my own guitars, and I am looking to talk to a big brand that doesn't make these type of shred guitars, but very classic style, and see if we can work something out to maybe branch out for them and win-win for me, and come up with my own thing. So that's
So if any of you out there know anyone at the Demerzio company or any guitar companies looking to branch out into shred type guitars, then you know who to contact. And yeah, I will rack my brain. Unfortunately, I don't think I know anyone who would be able to help
I
you in
have
that
some guys in
regard.
mind already. So
Yeah,
I got
see,
some. I'm always
there
I'm
you go.
always you know always going, you know. But
Always making moves.
yeah, it just I've been lucky enough to have a very active brain, and I learned a long time ago to embrace it instead of wanting to fit in with other people. Just embrace where I'm at and take advantage of those things. So yeah, that's
That's
what gives
good.
you music, like energy, frequency, and
Yeah,
from
and
reading too
black.
many weird things
Well,
and
no,
and
it's all good though. I mean, it's good. It's good music.
yeah,
That'll be my one lay. I won't try to classify it further than that, except just to say it's good music.
I'll take it. That's all. I mean, that's a it's just it's nice, and from doing your stuff, just to be able to share your art, and know it's been appreciated, and that people can take that and enjoy that in their life. It doesn't have to be like that they're calling you every day or whatever, but just that you imparted something that's useful, in some way.
Definitely.
Or that's
Yeah, if you can connect with somebody or they can connect with your work in some way, um,
yeah,
then that's really there's nothing better than that.
yeah,
But I think I mean you've managed to certainly do that with all of your music. And I think so much of it stems from how passionate you are about, you know, writing it, playing it, designing the guitars, making sure the tone is correct, doing it a little bit better than other people because you know that you're going to have two strikes against you coming into certain situations. Um, it's really been like I said before, it's been inspiring, and I'm excited to see where it goes this year.
yeah. I'm excited too, just to see what happens, new opportunities and all kinds of good things. So um, I don't know where we are time wise, but I just do want to give you guys a shout out
Yeah,
for
I
this
I mean I'm good.
everybody
I
on
mean,
this group.
if
I
you know,
just
I
want
mean,
to say,
we're go. I'm sorry, go on.
I just for you personally, Andrew, for all the work you've done with the podcast. Thank you, Heather, for the group, for both you guys for running it. My dude Patrick, you know, there's a ton of people. I appreciate it so much. The support we've had by working with this group, and yeah, it's been great, man. So thank you guys. We'll continue, but I just want to make sure I get that in before I forget.
Yeah, no,
And
no, it's all. I will say that Heather certainly appreciates everything that you've done, performing wise, being supportive. You've been incredibly supportive of me, either with this or the podcast or whatever. So, I mean, I couldn't appreciate it anymore, and it's really wonderful to kind of, like I said, draw so much inspiration from, either the music you're making or what you're doing or just how you're approaching things. So believe me, the appreciation cuts both ways.
Yeah, I,
It's
good to hear.
yeah, absolutely. Yep, there I go again. But but yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that this will
If
be. I'm
Heather's got her
hoping.
board out, if Heather's got her
Yeah, oh
board
yeah,
out, I think
sure.
she's already drank too much already. The bingo
Well,
thing, right?
I would always, yeah, I mean, I would always warn people not to make the bingo game a drinking game because,
Yeah,
you just never. But but yeah, I mean, it's what's yeah, what's and Heather said, I hope we continue to support each other. That's what the best thing about all this is finding like-minded people who are really gifted and creative and passionate, who are all interested in sort of doing the same thing,
yeah,
and just exploring that and finding kind of a safe place to try new things and experiment and like for me, there's no greater feeling than you know showcasing music from people all around the world, and just getting a like right now, there's probably some kid in in Mongolia who's listening to energy, frequency, vibration because they heard it on, Happy Hour with Heather and Guest or on the pod, or something, So it's just a great, it's just it's great to be able to be a part of something like that.
yeah. No, it's good, man. It's been really nice. Yeah, I was cracking up yesterday that you. I saw that you played the Raspberry Beret one on there. And I mean, honestly, I was laughing so hard. That was
Well,
like really we just did that for fun, like just because I don't know. I was just in this zone uh, earlier this
I
year, and I that's when I turned that SG purple, and I was just like I was on a Prince kick, like heavy, and I was like, let's
I
just
had
do this.
wanted to do, I had because previously I'd played a Black Tide track. So,
Yeah,
and I think before that I had played Energy, Frequency, Vibration. So I was looking for like a B side
yeah,
or or a deep cut, and I was like,
yeah.
"Ooh, Raspberry Beret." That's you don't get as deep as that. So
Yeah.
it was
There is
just
one other deep cut. If you go to the website, um, you scroll way down. It's like one of the first things on there. There's that band Him from Finland.
right, right.
Uh, I did a cover of one of their songs, so there is vocals on that. Heather, if you want to hear it, I can't even remember what the song's called at this point, but it's a cool song. Um, it's done moderately well for the cover, but that's a fun one too. So if you ever need another deep cut, that one's on there.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, I think at this point, like with most things, we can go back. There's been enough time I can go back to Energy, Frequency, Vibration, or find one of the other earlier albums, or even Black Tide. I just didn't want it to do so close. I sort of
yeah,
wanted to give, but but that's the beauty of this, Yeah, it'll be soon. It'll be time to. Oh, Heather said I do. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
there you go, Heather. There's a deep cut for you.
I got, not to be a, douche, but I mean, I can sing. I just I just don't enjoy it that much anymore. When I first started playing music, I didn't even care to play guitar. I just wanted to sing songs, and I started playing just to accompany, and it just kind of kept evolving and evolving. And I learned all the lead stuff because I kept ending up in these little trios, and it was like, okay, well, we can't just all play rhythm, so I'll learn how to play leads, and then I just liked it a lot, and now here we are, being instrumental. So yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean, I always took time to learn how to sing. I mean, my people that I liked when I got into music, I mean, was guys like Prince, was Bowie, guys who, to me, I feel like they can sing, not just yell things. And then going way back, um, I love the singer Tommy James,
Hmm.
who's from Niles, Michigan. Uh, Beautiful voice, man. Like, you listen to some of his old songs, and just a phenomenal singer. And those were my influences, which is funny. I have singer influences more than I have guitar influences, but um, those are the guys, and I like listening to that kind of stuff. I liked a lot of shoegaze type music when I started playing guitar. So, you know, where I'm at today versus where when I first even thought of playing music is so astronomically different, man. It's insane, but it's fun, and I love it, and I'm glad I can share it with you guys, and you guys are enjoying it. So,
Yeah, and we're looking forward to what's up next, whatever that may
oh,
be.
I got to do more now. When are you
Well, I
guys going to be
mean,
satisfied?
that's yeah, no, that's the
Yeah,
rub, my friend. You didn't know that coming into this
I know.
thing?
No. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what's funny is after doing energy frequency or EFV, however you want to call it, um, I didn't have any plans to do anything, and I didn't think I was going to record anything else this year because I put so much work into that one, and it was a super fun record to make. And every step of the way, I fought myself on so many things and challenged myself on so many things with that. And I think that's why it came out. I'm immensely like proud of the way it came out. So I was satisfied, 100%. And so the funniest thing is that I was getting bored because of all the Corona stuff, and I wasn't going to do another K Prouty record. I was kind of like gonna sneak in and make like some fake black metal group, and that's how it started. And then all of a sudden, it just ended up being what it is. So the Black Tide, uh, that was the whole thing. Once I got the first song done, I was like, oh no, this is too good. I'm using this. And then I realized that I wanted to turn it into one gigantic piece. Um, and then that whole process started. So yeah, and that's how it
What
always is. I never have plans. It just
yeah,
one thing. As soon as I get one thing going, then it's just boom, and then it goes from there.
that's yeah, I think that's how it is for a lot of people. You just you don't plan on inspiration, it just sort of hits you,
Yeah,
and then you just make the best of it.
yeah. So that being said, look for 8 more releases this year.
Yeah, that's what yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, we 2 full lengths and 3 EPs in 2 years. I think there'll be probably something happening this year for sure.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, you've certainly the output has been admirable, certainly. But I would imagine that you seem to be someone who's always got something in the mix. So my
Yeah,
guess is there'll be at least another EP or another album release this year. But
at least
and
an
of
EP.
course, and I will absolutely I will definitely add it to my, as I say on the podcast, I will be adding it to my playlist. So
Nice, man.
so there we go.
Yeah.
But
Let's see, Mason. What's happening, Mason? We know Mason. He's a good friend of ours. Glad he tuned in.
cool.
So, well, I mean, if anybody else got any questions, anything they want to know, I'll answer right now. And not, you guys are free to go. Enjoy your day. Let's see. Give it a
Well,
second.
I'm glad we finally got this work. I'm sorry it
Yeah.
took as long as it did, but it's I'm glad that we finally got it to work.
Yeah. Now I
But
know we'll just use the phone next time. It's because I had the laptop out and it was like, it was just not giving the options to do what we're trying to do.
yeah, well, I mean, I think there is a way to do it through the computer. I don't know what it is, so I've always
Yeah.
just used my phone. But
Yeah. It's
Mason
yeah.
Mason is just kicking. Yeah, man, you and me both.
Oh man.
But but I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad everything is going as well as it has, and the newest record is as good as the old records, meaning to say
I
that they are
appreciate it.
dynamite. And I'm looking forward to whatever moves you end up making in 21.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah. So as far as Black Tide, quick side note, I'm super stoked on how that one came out because I had actually uh, always been an interloper in music and never really had a real education in it. And this year, since we had time, I sat down and took music theory classes. And I think if you really sit down and just close your eyes and sit back and listen to Black Tide, you're going to hear a lot of difference between that one and the other stuff, because it opened up a lot of ideas um, that kind of made it into the rhythm sections and even some of the lead sections. So um, it was a really good thing. And I as to what you're saying, going along with it, I do think the stuff coming up is going to be even better suit because of that. And so I'm really happy with the way that came out, and I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. It's a fun record to put on while you're driving too, because it just keeps going, and the twists and turns in it, you're like, it doesn't get boring, at least for me. It will in a couple
No,
of weeks because I've heard it enough, but that's when I start writing again.
but I do know what you mean with that. But as for right now, I and of course I don't drive, but I'll have it on just in the background, and it'll be worthwhile.
Yeah. Is that a side
So
effect of the aneurysm? No driving?
no, well, yeah, I mean yes, my vision's still not great, but when I taught in Asia a couple years ago, my license expired, and I moved because I used to live in New York and I moved to Virginia, and when you move a state with an expired license, you got to take all the tests again. So I decided I didn't really want to do that, especially since I could walk to my job, and and I didn't want to buy a car. I've never, I mean, I growing up in New York City, I've never owned a car, so it was never a big
Yeah.
consideration. And then it was sort of like, well, my vision's still a little wonky. The last thing I would need is to pass all the tests, be able to drive and then get into an accident because, I misjudged where something was. So,
Yeah.
but it all worked out in the end. And
Right on, man.
yeah, well, I guess if it's cool, we can end our conversation here. But
Yeah, no,
it's
good,
been
man. I appreciate you
it's
having us
been
on.
of course it's been great talking with you, and I really do enjoy all your work, and I'm really excited about any upcoming music. So,
You guys will be the
and
first to know for sure.
thank you, and we will definitely have you back on, hopefully to do another live stream performance at some point.
Yeah. No, I
But
think we actually played the other night for the first time in quite a while. It's funny because even though we're here in the same house, we we don't play that unless we're getting ready for shows. We don't play that much. So it'd been quite
gotcha.
a while, and we did go through some songs, and it's really fun. So yeah, we'll probably be
Well,
getting something going pretty soon.
good.
We
Well,
gotta
and
we
please
gotta do we
give.
gotta do a full stream of the full start to finish Black Tide for you guys. We'll work on that.
Sounds good. Yeah, and please give her my best and apologize to her for me inviting her to come on the show because
She don't have to apologize. She's just cracking
okay.
up about it. So
Okay, good. Good. Well, Heather says thank you, and Mason,
yep,
thank you for tuning in, and Patrick, thank you for tuning in as well. And have a good rest of your weekend. We will
yep.
be in touch.
Thank you guys.
All right, take care.
Take care, man.